Steph will play. I can tell you that. I will not tell you if he's starting. I will not tell you how many minutes he's playing. So you can move on to question number 3.
I'm done.
Okay.
I mean, how many questions do you have to ask him after a scrimmage to make sure he's okay? Or is it pretty easy to tell that there were no issues after that?
It was pretty clear. He felt good. The only question was how he would feel the next day. Felt good yesterday. And yesterday was a pretty light day. So we felt really good about it yesterday as we talked about it. And today he's good to go.
What like non-Jokic parts of what they do like concern you the most?
Transition, although that's directly related to Jokic, but they're excellent transition team and corner 3-point shooting team. Got a lot of guys who are proficient from the corners. Rebounding, we've got to make sure we do a really good job on the glass. And if we turn it over, they've got guys who can really get out on the break. Jeff Green and Barton, Morris, they'll get out on the break and finish. And we got to avoid giving them the easy points, whether it's back cuts, transition, free throws, that kind of stuff.
Your game 1 record over your era is very good. Just seen 2 home teams lose game 1s today. Memphis, I guess, might really get your attention. Is there a game 1 approach that you take? Is there a specific way you want your team to feel about a game 1?
Inevitably for everybody, game 1s are first day of school, opening day of the NBA season. There's a different vibe. And then you get to game 2 and the team is settled in and playoff games feel normal, but that first one, there's always butterflies for everybody. And so I think the biggest thing is to remind the guys that, we've been preparing all week, but it's still a basketball game. We got to go out and let it rip and have some fun and compete and be disciplined, but got to go out there swinging.
Speaking of vibes, this is technically, last year felt like a playoff game, but this is technically the first playoff game at Chase. Just what do you expect? Is it nice to finally have this happening? Yeah,
it's great. I mean, we've had a great home crowd and home court advantage all year. Chase has been really a fantastic atmosphere in terms of the noise and the crowd's proximity to the floor. Some of the new arenas that are built are really expansive and the noise can get lost. This building was built specifically to try to make the fan experience more intimate, and we feel that as a team, we can really hear our fans out there, and so it's exciting to finally have the first official playoff game here.
Hey, Steve, I was wondering, the fact that Clay has tried to have such a good work-life balance with his hobbies and the outdoors and reading and all that, in what ways do you think that affects the way he approaches the game, as well as, coming off these injuries the last few years?
Well, he's deeply passionate about the game, and everybody knows about his off-court love for his boat and his dog, and he's got that persona, but Clay is a lot deeper than people realize, and he's just very quiet, so you don't see it an awful lot. But I think he loves the game so much that the last couple of years have been really, really hard on him. So I think now that he's back, I think he feels like his life is more balanced. And so when you talk about work-life balance, he missed the work. He had the life, but he was injured and he couldn't do what he loved work-wise. So I think he's got that balance back, but it's because he loves playing so much.
Steve, I think this is the first time this season where you've had a one-person injury report. What's the vibe you get from just realizing that, okay, we only have one guy that we know won't be playing?
Well, it's great. I mean, we've been hoping to get to this point, and the fact that it's it's here for game one of the playoffs, better late than never. But what's exciting is that we have a lot of continuity with our core guys. So I'm not worried about Steph and Clay and Draymond, Andre, Loon. I'm not worried about those guys not having played together for a few years. Actually, it's probably been 3 years since they last stepped on the floor together, which is crazy. But I don't think they'll skip a beat. I think this series will be a lot about our ability to gel quickly for guys who are limited with minutes. Steph especially being able to work that number up and us finding the combinations that we really like against our opponent.
You were pretty careful with Andre since he's returned, like 16 to 20 minutes. Is there more of an ability tonight? If he's playing well and you're trying to kind of chase down a game to extend him into the mid-20s.
To a point. We still got to be careful with him. I mean, a lot of Dre's physical stuff is just his mileage, the mileage he has on his body, his age. So we've got to limit his minutes, but there are no back-to-backs. There's plenty of rest in between games, especially in the first round. So we can push him a little bit more than we normally would.
You've said a lot that the rotations could be adjusted. You're going to be certainly looking at it very carefully, game to game, quarter to quarter. Are the rotation sheets you have with Mike less set, or is it question mark, or is it you have your set rotation and then you might just change it as it goes? How is that going to work?
So Mike will map out the rotation on a sheet, and he has it in pen. I have it in pencil. And then we go accordingly. So we have a plan, but usually, things happen and we kind of adapt as we go.
What are some of the challenges that present itself when you have a player like Steph, who he's going to be under a minute restriction, but he said on Thursday that if he's feeling good, he wants to play as much as he can play. Like what are the challenges with dealing with that?
There's not really a challenge. We just listen to Rick and the training staff. And so, there are different phases of a player returning from injury, and we'll adapt accordingly as we go. But when the training staff says can't play him beyond X, then we just don't play him beyond X, even though Steph and I will both be upset. No comment. Anybody else? All right, thanks.